The Maxence Lacroix to Chelsea deal feels like it's really close now, and somehow we've managed to throw in Axel Disasi on a season-long loan. Fabrizio Romano reported that Chelsea are looking to do something important in midfield, and have Newcastle just given us a clue to who that might be. Chelsea have become favourites for the 30 million 18-year-old Kerim Alaj-Begovic. Valentine Barco also looks like he's going to be announced as a Chelsea player very soon. We've got a few more details on the obligation to buy clause for Alejandro Garnacho to Aston Villa, and Villa also remain in talks with Chelsea over striker Nicholas Jackson. Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And the Morgan Rogers deal really feels like it's kicked things off, doesn't it? So, let's get straight into today's news. Vice posted this via Fabrizio Romano. Breaking news. Chelsea and Lacroix could be sealed at any moment. Next one for Chelsea. Lacroix said yes to Chelsea project already. Plus, Chelsea now signed all documents to sign Barco, announced soon. So we'll get into the Barco stuff a little bit later. We're going to focus on Maxence Lacroix right now. This deal has been going on for a while, right? When you think about the speed of the Palestra deal, the speed of the Morgan Rogers deal, this one definitely has been bubbling under the surface for a little while. There was starting to be some worries with the likes of Arsenal having a little look at him and stuff as well, but it does seem that all signs are pointing towards Maxence Lacroix joining Chelsea, and it is unbelievable what we've managed to do with this deal. Chelsea Dodgers posted this: breaking, Crystal Palace are in talks over a deal for Chelsea centre-back Axel Disasi as they prepare for Maxence Lacroix to head to Stamford Bridge. Mate, that's incredible. That's so good. So, you know, ideally, we'd all like to see Axel Disasi be sold. But the reason that this is okay, really, so it seems like he was initially holding out for a loan to France or Italy or to go back to Europe. But it seems like he actually might have agreed this loan deal to Crystal Palace, which is great because you can loan unlimited players within the UK. The limit for loan spots is only basically outside of the UK. We're only allowed 6 international loans throughout the season, so that's why it's not ideal to loan a Garnacho or an Axel Disasi to a European club, because as we've seen with Jesse Derry, who's headed over to Sporting, those are the really good spots to go and get your young players some minutes. But if Axel Disasi gets a season-long loan at Crystal Palace and plays well, we're not going to ask for a huge amount of money for him at the end of the season. We only want 17 million now. If he gets a full season, which he didn't last season, obviously, you know, finished the season with West Ham and they got relegated. They were interested in him as well, actually. But it makes sense for Axel Disasi to be like, do you know what, I'm going to play at Crystal Palace for a season, and hopefully that can help him raise his stock to eventually get that permanent move next summer. Chelsea Dodgers also posted this: Maxence Lacroix is closing on a move to join Chelsea. It is understood that Disasi has been discussed as a season on loan as the two clubs negotiate a deal. Look, I just think it's wild, man. I just think it's wild. Chelsea are making such good moves at the moment. How? Look, Morgan Rogers was pricey, don't get me wrong, but when you look at the market that's going on at the moment, I think Morgan Rogers is more valuable than Elliot Anderson for me personally. I think that the fact that there's only 1 million difference between those two says, you know, it's not a good deal, because 170 million is absolutely wild, but it just is what it is. The market's gone absolutely crazy this season, but we've managed to buy Morgan Rogers and loan them Alejandro Garnacho. We're going to get onto the specifics of that deal a little bit more. A player we really wanted out to a team that finished much higher than us. And now we're doing not exactly the same thing, but it looks like we're going to be able to bring in Maxence Lacroix, who is the number 1 centre-back target, and offload Axel Disasi, all in the same move. Again, this is absolutely brilliant business. We're getting the players we want. We're thinning the squad down. It's not all money on the books now, but as I'll get into with the Garnacho thing in a minute, that's actually looking like a really good deal for us. And I'm just really impressed with this window, man. It started very slowly. Palestra got over the line, and that was really, exciting because he looks like a good player. And there's also the excitement about the players that we're bringing in, the likes of Emmanuel Omega and Giovanni Kenda. And now we're adding Palestra and Lacroix and Morgan Rogers and a BOMBA midfielder that we're going to get into in a minute as well. It's looking rosy. One more quick on Lacroix. Pice posted this via Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea are working hard to give Lacroix to Xabi Alonso soon. I can reveal that Crystal Palace asked about Disasi, but the player prefers to move elsewhere. CFC also still in talks with Pep Chavadia. So I should have put this one earlier, really. But that was just to kind of back up what I was saying. Ultimately, he wanted to go somewhere else, but it looks like, we only said to Roma 17 mil, and if they said no to that, it's just not going to happen, is it? We had the same sort of thing with Garnacho. They didn't want to buy him. They wanted a loan deal with a complicated clause and stuff. But it seems like Crystal Palace are quite keen to have him. The also interesting thing in there is that we're apparently still in talks for Pep Chavadia, which is wild. It can't be 40 mil. We can't be paying 40 mil for Pep Chavadia. Look, 117 million for Rodgers is one thing based on the market that's going on at the moment, but 40 mil for Pep Chavadia is absolutely nuts. But maybe we get to hear something about that soon as well. And guys, if you've made it this far into today's episode of the Stamford Sync, please do me the distinct honour of liking and sharing the video, subscribe to the channel, or just roast me in the comments, whatever gets you through your day. Right, next up, the important bomber in midfield. Chelsea Dodgers posted this via Fabrizio Romano. Chelsea are still looking at doing something important in the midfield. The next bomber after Rodgers could be a new midfielder. So this set the internet on fire last night, man. The Chelsea side of the internet as well. And we're all thinking, who could it be? Who could it be? Who could it be? Because we've been linked with a few guys recently. There's Adam Wharton, who would be my preferred choice. There's Eduardo Camavinga. There's Alex Scott, who we obviously just had a bid knocked back for the other day. And also, this one's wild, but Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle, right? Another one who all of the signs have been pointing towards Arsenal. And if this would have, like, if this rumour would have come out before the Morgan Rodgers deal, I'd have been like, yeah, no chance, he's probably just going to go to Arsenal. But now it's starting to feel like, oh, maybe that can happen. So one way or another, it looks like we're willing to spend big on a midfield partner for Moise Caicedo, which is interesting when you consider that we haven't really figured out what we're doing with Enzo Fernandez yet. Of all of the midfielders that I just mentioned and the bomber that it could be, personally, Adam Wharton would be the one for me. I had a feeling, my little tinfoil hat moment, the reason that Bedad Igbali has gone to speak directly to Steve Parish about the Maxence Lacroix deal was maybe because Adam Wharton was being part of that conversation as well. Because 55, you know, we're going to spend a little bit more on Maxence Lacroix than we did on Marco Palestra. It's not this 100 million generational signing, but if you add an Adam Wharton into that, then it kind of is, isn't it? But some news came out a little while ago that is maybe making me start to think that it might be Bruno G. Fabrizio Romano posted this: Mladic Bamba to Newcastle, here we go. Deal done with AS Monaco for €41 million package, medical authorised. Bamba travelled to England to complete his move, as Fabrice Hawkins reports green light from Monaco. Personal terms also agreed with Newcastle FC. So, he's a midfielder. That's the thing. Now, I guess this is maybe, you know, jump into it a little bit because they've also sold Sandro Tonali. So they do need to, you know, kind of start reinvigorating their midfield. That's absolutely true. But I just find it interesting that this has happened today. And obviously Arsenal have been in talks with Bruno G. And apparently we might be going in for him as well. Bruno G is going to be super, super, super expensive if that's the guy that we go for. I mean, either way, like, it's going to be 80 to 100 mil for Adam Wharton. It's going to be 80 to 100 mil for Bruno G. Bruno G is, you know, more experienced further along, probably adds more to the team right now, but he's 29 on his way to 30, whereas Adam Wharton's like 23, something like that. So, you know, you get in, obviously, a longer career for the same money within Adam Wharton. They are relatively different profile of players, but Bruno G is a good deep line distributor as well. He's definitely got an eye for a long pass. So this is, like I say, the Newcastle thing, I'm not really sure because, like I said, they did obviously sell Sandro Tonali as well, so now they have to completely revamp their midfield. I don't know a huge amount about Bamba to say whether he's more of the Bruno G or the Tonali type, really. But either way, I'm getting excited for what. Look, it's all kicking off, man. Maxence Lacroix could drop at any moment now by the sounds of it. There's another player that I'm going to talk about in a minute, Alaj Begovic, who looks like an interesting prospect as well. We're starting to shift out players. There's links to play, like Garnacho's gone and Disasi's going to be gone. And, you know, there's even some terse links about people asking about Benoit Badiashile. Like, it just seems everything is turning up Chelsea at the moment. But I mentioned him a minute ago, Chelsea Dodgers posted this: Chelsea favourite to sign £30 million Bosnia World Cup star Kerim Alaj-Begovic. So, I'd never heard of him before, and many of you probably hadn't heard of him before until the World Cup. Scored two or three goals, and I think it was like two or three goals in the World Cup for Bosnia. 18 years old, 6'1", attacking winger type midfielder. I checked his heat map out earlier. He spent last season at Red Bull Salzburg in Austria, but he's actually a Bayer Leverkusen player. But they sold him to Red Bull Salzburg for 2 mil. And they've just bought him back for 8 mil because they had a buyback clause. So, albeit he didn't actually play for Bayer Leverkusen last season, he actually spent last season at Red Bull Salzburg in the Austrian league. I think it was like 13 goals, 3-4 assists or something. Really, really good output. And look, zoom out a minute. Austrian league, obviously weaker quality, but Red Bull Salzburg have had a couple of players that have done all right. Was it not Erling Haaland? Is that not where he was playing before he went to Borussia Dortmund? So, and it's good numbers for a young player. The thing is, if we were looking at getting like a 25-year-old who had 10 goals in the Austrian league, I'd be like, what are we talking about? But with the slightly weaker, I don't even like to say weaker leagues, the lower power ranked leagues or whatever you want to call it, if a young player is doing well in those leagues, it's still a professional league with, majoritively grown players and stuff. It's not all just kids and that. And I felt the same about Marco Palestra, right? So a lot of people have said about Marco Palestra, oh yeah, he won Defender of the Year, but it was in Italy. I'm like, bro's 21 years old. That's unbelievable at 21 years old. So for Aleš Begović to have had such a good season in Austria at the age of 18 is impressive, albeit Austria is not exactly as strong a league as like Italy or France or Spain or obviously the Premier League. So he's an attacking winger. He looks good. I don't know enough about him to know whether he's the half space guy. Like, I looked at his heat map and it looked more like a winger, but he did get into the half space a little bit. So maybe it's another wing back option. Maybe it's an actual winger option. But either way, it seems to be to replace the outgoing Alejandro Garnacho, I guess, in the grand scheme of things, which could denote that Jamie Gittins is going to get tested at right wing back. Either way, the player looks interesting. 30 mil is quite a lot of money for an 18-year-old, but not the most we've ever spent on an 18-year-old. And thus far, I'm impressed with his reading, anyway, statistics. I need to watch a little bit more of him and see how he is. But let me know what you think about Kerim Alashbegovic in the comments. I think the most important thing is he's another player that Xabi Alonso is specifically interested in. So, Fabrizio Romano posted this. All documents are signed for Valentine Barco to join Chelsea from Strasbourg after the agreement done since May. The Argentinian will soon be announced as a new CFC player and welcomed by Xabi Alonso. Here we go, 100% confirmed. So we haven't seen him yet, it's still not happened, but at the end of the day, Valentine Barco going to be a Chelsea player. I think he's going to be a wicked squad player, man. Like, I'm not expecting him to come in and absolutely, force his way into the first team or whatever. He's 21 years old. He's quite diminutive. He's going to maybe take a little bit of adjusting, but the profile of player that he is going to be really useful because of how versatile he is, because of how much energy he's got, and because of how creative he is. So I'm not looking at Barco thinking, oh, how are you going to fit in the first team? It's like, I don't think he will for the most part. I think he's going to come on in a lot of games. I think he'll play cup games. I think he'll cover for injury. He can play left wing back, left back, centre midfield, even the attacking half space occasionally if you're looking for something different, or you're playing like a League One team or a Championship team in a cup run or something like that. And maybe he surprises us and goes on to do even better than that. I do really like the look of the player, but like I say, I'm not expecting him to come in and smash it. But as far as depth goes, this has been one of our biggest problems for absolutely ages, hasn't it? Depth. So we can be disappointed, or like loads of people are asking, like, where's he going to play? Where's he going to play? It's like, mate, like even if he is coming in to be a bench player, we need that as much as anything. We spent the majority of the back half of last season bringing Liam Delap and Alejandro Garnacho off of the bench when we needed to change games, right? So it's so important that our depth is strong as well, and having a player like Barco for me shows that we're going to have really good depth, and I'm excited to see what he can do. Right, next up, we're going to talk a little bit more about Alejandro Garnacho. Fabrizio Romano posted this. More on Garnacho and Aston Villa exclusive story. The obligation to buy clause is considered easy to reach, almost guaranteed. Chelsea count on permanent transfer for 2027 as Garnacho also signs a 4-year deal ahead of switch. Second part of medical ongoing now. So what I'm not really sure, I assume that doesn't mean he signed a 4-year... No, he signed a 4-year deal with Aston Villa. I was going to say, imagine if he extends before he goes on loan to Aston Villa. That'd be a nightmare, wouldn't it? But... So I reported on yesterday, Fabrizio Romano had come out and said we need to, like, UEFA are basically have us under the magnifying glass again, making sure that we're not gonna be like, oh, if he plays one game, then you got to buy him on a permanent. So we've got to be careful. We can't make it too easy, but still, even with that, it's probably like 10 games or something. Do you know what I mean? It probably is just like 10 games. So the money that I've seen for Alejandro Garnacho is 42.7 million. Which is good because that's actually 7 mil more than we paid for him roughly. Now it was 35 rising to 40 with add-ons when we bought him. I doubt he met any of the add-ons. I'm not 100% sure. It hasn't been sort of spoken about. But either way, we're going to make a profit on Alejandro Garnacho. Quid's in, mate. Quid's in. This window is wicked. And last, we're just going to talk a little bit about Nicholas Jackson. Chelsea Dodgers posted this via Fabrizio Romano. Aston Villa remain in contact with Chelsea over Nicholas Jackson. Let's see if Chelsea want to give the green light or not. 65 million pounds we want for Nicholas Jackson. Like, this is so wild. Like, this is so wild. We're going to get 40 mil for Alejandro Garnacho. That's almost nailed on. We might end up getting to up to 20 mil for Axel Disasi if he has a good season on loan with Crystal Palace. We have sold Tyreek George for 25 mil. We've sold Mark Cucurella for 50 mil. Who else? There is another outgoing. I can't even remember who it was, but we're obviously looking at selling Malagusto. We want 50 plus for him. 120 for Enzo Fernandez. 65 for Nicholas Jackson. Like, the money's just going to start pouring in, man. It's so weird that it's all happening so quickly now, isn't it? Because the window started so slowly. But what they did, a lot of these conversations and a lot of this dealings has been done under the radar. This is what I'm really appreciating about it, is we're getting all these drops and bombers and information's going absolutely nuts right now. But obviously for the first month and a half of the window, it was really slow. And we've still got over a month to go. We've still got 5 weeks left, a little bit more than 5 weeks of the transfer window. So it looks like Xabi Alonso is going to have his squad together pretty quickly. Mate, I'm so excited for next season, man. I'm so excited for next season. We've bought Morgan Rogers, who massively upgrades the squad, and it's the first actual proper statement signing we've made in a really long time, where we've gone out and bought one of the best players that's around to bring him in to upgrade our squad. We have been, for the last decade, we've been obsessed with potential, going out into Europe, looking for cheaper options. Can this player develop into this guy? But then, can he climb to the Premier? We've done things like Kai Havertz and Timo Werner and Christopher Nkunku, all look like absolute bets, and they all came in and struggled to adapt to the Premier League. And it's like, with Morgan Rogers, it shows that we're not doing that. With Maxence Lacroix, it shows that we're not doing that. We're bringing these guys into the first team to build on the really strong core of players that we've got already in the squad. It's easy to forget, isn't it? Because we finished so badly last season. Cole Palmer is brilliant. Moise Caicedo is brilliant. João Pedro is brilliant. Reece James is brilliant. Levi Colwill is brilliant. We've already got loads of really good players. We're getting rid of the players that we don't want anymore. Somehow, Disasi and Garnacho on loans is wild, but they're Premier League loans, so that will still allow us to loan some of the younger players that we've got out to international teams to try and get them some really good experience. Mate, this is going phenomenally well. And guys, I'm just doing a short one today. I have a feeling that something else might break tonight, so I'm going to keep this one brief, and I'm going to keep an eye on the news. Also, don't forget to tune in tomorrow for the 6th episode of the Talking Chelsea podcast. Thanks very much for sticking around until the end of the video. If you did, I'll catch up with you all very soon. Take it easy. Peace.